The 2021 KBO season starts on Saturday, April 3rd, a 144-game schedule running till the middle of October, with a 3-week break for the Olympics from July 19th to August 9th. This will be the 40th season for Korea's top professional baseball league. 10 teams to talk about here, so let's get right into it. Let's start with the defending champion NC Dinos. Last year, this team jumped into first place in the first couple weeks of the season and remained at the top all the way to the end. It was their first championship in their 8 years of existence. The Dinos were the highest scoring team in the KBO with a number of major contributors, so they don't miss a beat if someone goes on the injured list, and everybody is back for the 2021 season. Outfielder Sungbum Na hit 34 home runs and 37 doubles. A .596 slugging was second best in the league. First in slugging was catcher Uiji Young at .603, 33 home runs and the KBO's third best OPS at 1.033. Young was the Korean Series MVP. Aaron Altair hit 31 home runs, giving the Dinos 3 batters with over 30 homers. He also stole 22 bases. Second baseman Minwoo Park had the team's best on-base percentage at .402. On the other side, the Dinos allowed the 4th fewest runs. Starting pitcher ERA ranked 4th, bullpen ERA 5th. Drew Rucinski led the rotation with 19 wins, a .305 ERA, and 20 quality starts. But the best pitcher may be 24-year-old Chung Mo-koo. Koo was 9-0, ERA 174, WHIP 0.81. But missed most of the second half with an injury. The only thing that could be called a weakness on this team is the bullpen, but even that is mostly reliable. If Koo remains healthy, the rotation could be even better, and the highest scoring offense in the KBO last year brings back all the pieces. A repeat looks very likely here. The Doosan Bears have won the Korean Series 3 times in the last 6 years, last one coming in 2019. In 2020, they almost won it again, reaching the Korean Series but falling in 6 games to the Dinos. They were second in the KBO in runs scored, first in team batting, but second from the bottom in home runs, so they do it more with base hits rather than slugging. First baseman Jose Miguel Fernandez batted .340, on base .404 with 21 home runs. Third baseman Kyung-min Huh hit .332, on base .382. And outfielder Jae-hwan Kim led the team in home runs with 30. But they lost 2 good hitters during the offseason. First baseman Jae-il Oh, who is now with the Samsung Lions, and second baseman Ju Hwan Choi, now with the SSG Landers. The Bears were 3rd in runs allowed with the top starting rotation in the KBO and 3rd best bullpen. However, their rotation suffered 2 major losses during the offseason. KBO wins leader Raul Alcantara won 20 games with a .254 ERA in 198 innings. He is now with the Hanshin Tigers of NPB. Chris Flexen started 21 games with 12 quality starts. He is now with the Seattle Mariners. Best returning pitcher is 26-year-old right-hander Won Jung Choi. In 2020, he made 18 starts and 24 relief appearances, with 10 wins and an ERA of .380. In place of Alcantara and Flexen, the Bears have signed 26-year-old right-hander Walker Lockett, who pitched in 2020 for the Mariners and Mets, and Cuban lefty Ariel Miranda. He's coming off a successful 2020 in the CPBL, and previously pitched in MLB and NPB. The new arrivals might be successful, but it's unlikely they'll match the success of the departing pitchers. The hitting will still be good, but they lost 2 good hitters in the offseason. This could be a rough year for the Bears. Next, the KT Whiz. In season number 6 in the KBO, the Whiz made the first postseason appearance in 2020, second in the regular season standings at 81, 62, and 1. They were 3rd in the postseason, falling to the Bears in 4 games. Offense is what got them there. 2nd in runs scored, 2nd in home runs, 3rd in team batting. But their biggest bat in 2020 is no longer with the team. Mel Rojas Jr. was the KBO leader in home runs, RBI, slugging, and OPS, on his way to winning the MVP. A big loss for the Whiz offense. Their top returning hitter is 21-year-old first baseman Baek Ho Kang. Among returning hitters, he is the leader in batting average, on-base percentage, slugging, home runs, and doubles. Third baseman Jae-gyun Hwang is another good hitter, right behind Kang in every category. Shortstop Woo Jun Shim, not much of a hitter but led the KBO in stolen bases with 35. And joining the lineup this year is Zoilo Almonte. Last year with the Chunichi Dragons of NPB, he slashed .294, .385, .463 in half a season. The Whiz were 5th in runs allowed. Starting pitching was a little weak, ranking 7th in starting pitcher team ERA, but the bullpen was good, ranking 4th, allowing the high-powered Whiz offense to outscore opponents in the late innings. Odrisamer Despaigne won 15 games despite a .433 ERA. He led the league with 207 and 2/3 innings. Hyung-jun So won 13 games, ERA .386, and William Cuevas won 10, ERA .410. Losing your best player hurts, especially one as dominant as Rojas was. The Whiz will need Almonte to come in and fill his shoes as much as possible. They'll also need more out of their pitching since they probably won't be able to score as many runs. The LG Twins were 79-61-4 last year, tied for third in the final standings, 5 games out of first. In the postseason, they beat the KBO Heroes in a single-game playoff, then were swept in 2 games by the Doosan Bears. The Twins had the KBO's best overall pitching with the fewest runs allowed, second in both starter and reliever ERA, and most of that good pitching is back for the 2021 season. Casey Kelly was a 15-game winner with a .332 ERA, tied for second in the league with 20 quality starts. Another foreign pitcher, Tyler Wilson, won 10 games, ERA .442. He is no longer with the team. In his place, they acquired 28-year-old left-hander Andrew Suarez, who posted a .372 ERA in 6 appearances with the San Francisco Giants in 2020. And they have a promising young starter in 19-year-old Min-Ho Lee. A year ago, he started 16 games, just short of 100 innings, ERA .369. Their closer is 22-year-old Woo Suk Go, 17 saves, .410 ERA in 40 games. They'll be hoping he can get back to how he performed in 2019 when he appeared 65 times with 35 saves and a .152 ERA. Hitting was decent, 4th in runs scored, 4th in team batting, 3rd in home runs. First baseman Roberto Ramos hit 38 home runs, second highest total in the KBO, even though he missed 27 games due to injury. Slugging was the league's 3rd best. If he stays healthy, he's a serious MVP candidate. Former Baltimore Orioles outfielder Hyun-Soo Kim hit 22 home runs, 35 doubles, on-base percentage just under .400. If Ramos stays healthy, the Twins can put more runs on the board this year. For pitching, Suarez should be as good or better than Wilson was. Min-Ho Lee will only get better, and they'll hopefully get a rebound from their closer. This looks like an improved team that will challenge the Dinos for the top spot. The KBO Heroes were 80-63-1 in 2020, grabbing the 5th and final playoff spot, though they were just a game behind the second-place team. In the postseason, they were eliminated in 1 game by the LG Twins. This was a pitching team last year and figures to be once again this year. They were second in runs allowed, starting pitcher ERA was 6th, and their bullpen was the league's best. Eric Jokic won the league ERA title with a mark of .214, 12 wins and a .106 whip. Unfortunately, the rest of the rotation wasn't very good. To help with that, the Heroes signed 33-year-old right-hander Josh Smith, who pitched for the Miami Marlins in 2020. Leading their top-ranked bullpen is 26-year-old closer Sang-Woo Cho. Last year, he led the league with 33 saves and only 3 blown saves, ERA .215, 10.6 strikeouts per 9 innings. The Heroes were an average hitting team, 5th in runs scored, 7th in team batting, 8th in home runs. They lost their biggest offensive contributor during the offseason when Ha-Sung Kim signed with the San Diego Padres. Top returning hitter is 22-year-old outfielder Jung-Ho Lee, .397 on base and a league-leading 49 doubles. Another 22-year-old outfielder Hae-Sung Kim batted .285 and stole 25 bases. Second baseman Gun Chong-seo had a .390 on base and 24 steals. To help make up for the loss of Kim, the Heroes signed veteran outfielder Young-Kyu Lee. Last year with the Hanwha Eagles, Lee had a .381 on base with 17 steals. And they've also brought in a new foreign hitter. David Freitas last appeared in 2019 for the Milwaukee Brewers and Seattle Mariners. The new acquisitions will make up for some of the loss from Kim's departure. Like last year, there'll be lots of base stealing and not so many home runs. The bullpen will be dominant again, and if the starting rotation gets better, the team will be better. The Kia Tigers were the best team not to reach the postseason last year. At 73-71, they were 7 games out of the 5th and final postseason spot. As a team, they were 7th in scoring, 6th in both team batting and home runs, with some really good individual hitters. 3 outfielders lead the way. 37-year-old Hyung-Woo Choi won the batting title with a .354 average and topped the league in on-base percentage, .433. 4th in slugging, 2nd in OPS, 28 home runs and 37 doubles. Preston Tucker hit 32 homers and 40 doubles, on base just short of .400. Ji-Won Na hit 17 home runs, on base .392. Pitching was a problem for the Tigers, allowing the 3rd most runs in the KBO, 8th in starting pitcher ERA, 9th in bullpen ERA. Would have been a lot worse too if not for Aaron Brooks. 11 wins, .250 ERA, .102 whip. Tied for 1st in whip, tied for 2nd in ERA, but he had to leave the team with a month remaining in the season due to a family emergency. Drew Gagnon managed a winning record last year, but he was a bit disappointing, so he was released. His replacement is Daniel Mengden, who spent the last 5 years with the Oakland A's. In 2020, his ERA was .365 and 12 1/3 innings, mostly in relief. Lefty Hyun Jong-young won 11 games, 15 quality starts while striking out 149. ERA was pretty high at .470. The year before it was .229. It looks like the foreign pitcher replacement is an upgrade, and Brooks should be there from start to finish this time. So the improvement in starting pitching should be enough to boost them into the postseason. But they won't climb too high until they get more from their bullpen and a better supporting cast around their star hitters. The Lotte Giants took a big step forward last year. After losing 93 games in 2019 and finishing dead last, they ended the 2020 season in 7th, one game under 500. They were 6th in runs scored, 5th in both home runs and team batting. Outfielder Ah-Sup Son was 2nd in the KBO in batting, 3rd in on-base percentage with 43 doubles. Outfielder Junwoo Jung hit 26 home runs and 34 doubles. First baseman Dae-Ho Lee, though his best days are behind him, added 20 home runs. One concern here, though, all three hitters I just mentioned are getting up there in age. The Giants were 6th in runs allowed, 5th in starting pitcher ERA, 7th in bullpen ERA. Head of the rotation is 15-game winner Dan Straley, the league leader in strikeouts, 2nd in innings and ERA, tied for 1st in WHIP. The rest of the rotation struggled, so they've brought in Enderson Franco, last seen in 2019 with the San Francisco Giants. In the bullpen, they've got a dependable closer in Won Jung Kim. In 58 appearances, he recorded 25 saves with an ERA of .394. After moving up from 10th to 7th, the next step is a return to the postseason, which they seem ready to do. If their aging hitters have one more good year left in them, it'll happen for sure. The Samsung Lions were the 8th place team a year ago, 11 games under 500. The KBO's third worst team had the third worst offense, bottom half of the league in home runs and batting. But that should change with the arrival of first baseman J.Il.O. Last year with the Bears, he had a .390 on-base percentage with 16 home runs. Also joining the team is Jose Perella, who batted .266 with 11 home runs for the Hiroshima Carp in 2020. They've also got outfielder Dong-Yub Kim, .360 on base, 20 home runs last year, and outfielder Hae-Min Park, 2nd in the KBO with 34 stolen bases. So the offense is looking good. Pitching was stronger than hitting last year. They were 7th in runs allowed, starting pitcher ERA ranked 3rd, but the bullpen ranked 8th. David Buchanan is at the top of the rotation, 15 wins, .345 ERA, 18 quality starts. Chae-Hung Choi won 11 games, ERA .358. The hitting should be much better this year with the two new arrivals. The rotation was already good, and their best starting pitchers are back. If they can work out their issues with the bullpen, this can be a postseason team. Last year's 9th place team was the SK Wyverns, 39 games under 500, a big drop for a team that tied for the KBO's best record in 2019 and won the Korean Series in 2018. This team recently changed ownership and is now known as the SSG Landers. As a team, they ranked 4th in home runs, but were 2nd from the bottom in team batting and overall scoring. But they definitely have reasons to be optimistic about their hitting this year. Shin Soo-Choo joins the team after a 16-year Major League career in the biggest signing of the KBO offseason. Second baseman Ju Hwan Choi was another good signing. With the Doosan Bears in 2020, he batted .306 with 16 home runs. And their two best hitters from last year return. Third baseman Jung Choi hit 33 home runs to lead the team. First baseman Jamie Romack was right behind him with 32. They went into last season having to replace their two best pitchers, and it didn't go well. 9th in starting pitcher ERA, dead last in bullpen ERA. Their pitching staff allowed more runs than any other team. They signed two new foreign pitchers to help with that. Wilmer Font threw 21 games in relief for the Toronto Blue Jays in 2020, and Artie Lewicki appeared briefly for the Arizona Diamondbacks. They'll join Seung-Won Moon in the rotation. He had a .365 ERA in 145 innings. Changing names won't change anything on the field, but the two new additions to their lineup will certainly improve their hitting. Pitching might get better too, but a return to the postseason is not likely. And now we've reached the bottom. The Hanwha Eagles were 46-95-3 last year. That's 49 games under 500, 33 out of the last postseason spot. Hitting was awful, fewest runs scored, lowest team batting average. They only hit 79 home runs. Every other team hit at least 125. Not one individual batter finished in the top 40 in OPS. Their best hitter was Young-Kyu Lee, and he is now with the Heroes. Best returning hitter is catcher Jae-Hoon Choi, who carried a .383 on-base percentage. Ryan Healy joins the Eagles this year after 5 seasons in MLB. In 2016, he slugged over 500, and a year later hit 25 home runs. If he can put up numbers similar to that this year, he'll be a big help to the Eagles lineup. Pitching wasn't much better, 2nd most runs allowed, highest starting pitcher ERA. The bullpen was a bright spot though, ranking 6th. 26-year-old right-hander Dae Kyung Yoon appeared 55 times in relief and had a .159 ERA. Nick Kingham will join the rotation. Last year with the SK Wyverns, he had 2 rough starts before going down with an elbow injury. Left-hander Ryan Carpenter is another new addition. After 2 seasons with the Detroit Tigers, he was one of the CPBL's top pitchers last year. The new foreign players might be able to improve this team, but it doesn't look like we'll see a major turnaround this year. Another last-place finish seems likely. And here are my predictions. The Dinos have everything coming back. They'll remain at the top. Twins get better. They'll move up to 2nd. Heroes will be about the same. They'll make the postseason again. The Whiz will not reach the postseason. Rojas is too big of a loss for their hitting, and their pitching isn't that good. The Bears won't make it either. They lost 2 good hitters and their 2 best pitchers. That leaves 2 postseason spots filled by the Tigers and Giants. Lions and Landers get better but miss the postseason. Eagles remain in last. For the Korean series, I'll say Dinos over Twins, though it's worth mentioning that the Twins were the only team with a winning record against the Dinos last year. It'll be interesting to see if that continues this year. That's what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments. That's all for this one, and until next time, this is Baseball International. See ya!